Auntie Kookoo's got another murder story for you. Before I get started, though, I feel like I should have been doing this all along. Sorry, I haven't. But this story, again, of course, is a murder story, but it does involve children. So if that's not your thing, chicken wing, this might not be for you. But if it is true crime, that's my thing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Storytime with Auntie Kookoo, Kookoo. Let's do it. So this story, you guys, is about Robert Black. Do you know about him? Have you heard about him? You haven't? You have? Well, let me share some more. So, like I said at the beginning, Robert Black is literally known as one of the UK, the United Kingdom's, one of the most prolific child killers. So Robert Black was born in April of 1947 in, I think, Scotland or wherever, somewhere. Anyways, he was given up for adoption. He was adopted by a mom and dad, and apparently he didn't have that great of a childhood. Who does? Well, I had a good childhood, let's be honest. But some people have good ones, some don't. But anyways, when he was very young, his adoptive dad died. And his adoptive mother really struggled to kind of handle him and raise him, I guess. Just to kind of give you guys a quick rundown of what was going on in Robert Black's life as a child. At 8 years old, okay, did you hear that? 8 years old, Robert Black was inserting objects. Again, if this is not for you, anyone under 18, you should not be listening. But he was inserting objects into his rectum at 8 years old. So whether it was like, you know, a race car, some Legos, the kitchen spoon, whatever it was, that's what he was doing. 8 years old, inserting it into his rectum. So it is not known if he was doing this as a pleasure thing or as a self-harm type torture thing. You know, some kids like cut themselves, or not kids, people, kids, whoever, cut themselves or do different things to self-harm. So they're not sure if it was like he was enjoying it and it was pleasurable, or if it was like a self-harm thing. But that's what he was doing at 8 years old. A little bit twisted, right? So let's move on in life. I also do want to give you guys a quick, like I said, I always give rundowns. I don't know if you guys know what MO is. It is the modus operandi. Probably said it wrong. But pretty much what it means is it's like a pattern, like serial killers. They have a pattern, they all strangle someone, or, you know, they all slit throats, or they tie knots, or hang them. You know, everyone's got an MO, some type of signature pattern. So, Robert Black's MO was that he stalked, he hunted, he preyed on, he kidnapped, he tortured, molested, raped, and murdered children, young little girls, ages 5 to 11 years old. Twisted, right? Anywho, let's move on with the story. So it is, oh dang, don't get my dates twisted. August 12th, 1981, Jennifer Carty is like, hey mom, I'm gonna ride my bike down to my friend's house. I was born in the 80s, late 80s. And the 90s, you know, when the street light came on, you needed to get your butt home, right? Nicole Colesser knows. We grew up in the neighborhood. Street lights come on, you gotta get your butt home. So, needless to say, when Jennifer didn't come back home, her parents were like, where are you at, yo? Start calling her friends. Friends like, she never showed up. What? So, small community, parents go out, they start looking, they're searching, they're looking. This is 9-year-old Jennifer Carty who went to her friend's house and never showed back up. So what they do find, though, is her bike in the bushes. They find her bike in the bushes with the kickstand up. So pretty much, I mean, you rode a bike as a kid, right? If you didn't, I'm sorry. I rode a bike. But as you're riding your bike, you know, if someone stops talking to you, kick your kickstand up, right? Kick it up. So it's apparent like she had stopped to talk to someone before they threw the bike into the bushes. So it is, you know, the neighborhood, everybody's searching. They find the bike in the bushes and stuff. And then they find her body. She has been raped, she's been molested, she's been abused, and she's murdered. Dead. It takes years for them to find out what happened to sweet Jennifer, 9-year-old Cardi. A sweet kid just trying to ride her bike to her friend's house. Sick, twisted mofos. So, that brings us about again, like I said, it took years for them to find out what happened to Jennifer. Bring us almost 1 year to the day. Not really, but pretty friggin' close. Like 1 year down to the month. That sweet, little, innocent Susan Maxwell is like, I'm going to walk home at 4:30. As she's walking home, someone just plucks her right off the street and she's never seen again. Gone. Just plucked right off the street while she's walking home in her sweet little neighborhood. So, finally they do find her body. Now when she is found, because of like the heat, temperature being outside, the body is so badly decomposed that, like, I mean, you can't tell what happened. Again, they don't know, like, how did she die? How was she murdered? How was she killed? It's obvious it was a murder. But again, the decomposition, and the time, the area being outside. And again, this is in the 80s, before, like, all this DNA stuff. So we've got Susan Maxwell. We've got Jennifer Cardi. That's 2. So it is July 8th, 1983. Caroline Hogg, 5 years old. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys see that? 5 years old. She's like, Mom, Dad, can I run to the park real quick and play? I grew up in middle school, and there's a park right behind my house, like 50 feet behind my house. My parents like, yeah, go. So her parents like, yeah, go play on the playground. 15 minutes later, her brother goes looking for her. She's gone. Can't find her anywhere. MIA. Gone. Like, really, this park's behind our house. Where did she go? Wherever did this child go? So, it is 10 days after she goes missing that the body is found 300 miles away. So, let's move forward. We've got Sarah. Sweet little Sarah. She is also outside, of course, and is on her way to the corner store. On her way to the corner store, Black sees her first, and he abducts her, and he rapes, abuses, molests, traumatizes, and murders this child. I mean, I don't mean to make that face like, and what, but I mean, like, anyways, you guys know I love my kids, so I don't mean that face like that. Some people take my expressions the wrong way. That's not how I mean it, but it's like, anywho, so they find, so anyways, she's going to the corner store, she gets abducted, and they end up finding her several miles away. A dog walker actually finds her, and same thing. She has been abused, molested, raped, and murdered. Bring us to July 1990. And this is where it gets real crazy. You guys aren't going to believe what happens. And I promise you guys, I'm not making this up. This is a true story. So, there is a little girl who is walking along in the neighborhood. And there's a man mowing his grass, you know, across the street. He's mowing his grass. And there's this white van. We all know the white van, right? I mean, growing up, my parents like, stay away from the white van. It's a stereotypical serial killer, rapist, murder, abduction van, right? Stay away from the white van. So this man's mowing his grass, and there's this little girl walking along, and he sees this white van kind of like circling, praying, plotting, hunting, stalking this child pretty much. So he's mowing his grass, and he leans down to empty, you know, like the bag that has like all the grass cuttings in it. As he's emptying it, he sees the man pull up, and all of a sudden, this little girl's legs gone. Like she was plucked out of the sky into this friggin' van. So, obviously, this man goes inside, and he calls 911. Boop, boop, boop. I'm a little bit concerned. This little girl was walking along, this white van stalking my neighborhood, and she's gone. So the police come out to his home, and they're talking to him, and as he's standing out front, describing the van, describing what happened, he's like, oh my God, that's it, that's the van right there. He'd already had the license plate, but he saw the van, he's like, that's it right there. They stop the van. He didn't want to stop at first. Police had to jump out in front and like make him stop. So finally he stops in his white serial killer stereotypical rape van, right? With like it's a utility van, you know, not like your mom's soccer van. It's a utility van. So they pull Robert Black out of the front and, you know, arrest him, start questioning him, whatnot. Another officer, and like I said, you guys are going to think I'm making it up. I swear on my mother's ashes that I am not making this up. Another officer goes to the back of the van, opens up the back doors, finds a small child in a sleeping bag with a plastic bag tied over her head to suffocate her. She is minutes from being suffocated because she can't breathe, obviously. She's already been raped, molested, assaulted. He pulls the bag off of her head. Again, this is the police officer. Open the van, pulls the bag off of her head. It's his friggin' daughter. Yeah, I said it. It is literally the police officer's daughter. He literally, I mean, I wish he could have been there sooner. It's not on him by any means. She's already been raped, molested, abused, but she's alive. She's a menace from being suffocated in this bag after being raped, molested, abused, and tortured by this sick, disgusting piece of, we call a person. But yeah, it's his daughter. Is that not like, could you imagine pulling that plastic bag off of a small child, knowing you have a small child at home and you care about kids, and then pulling it off and seeing your own child? Oh, I couldn't even friggin' imagine. Anyways, so the police began interrogating Robert Black, and obviously he admits to this, but is trying to deny other things. Well, the company he works for as a delivery driver, they have like all his gas receipts that literally place him in the areas that the other girls were murdered. So that helps line that up. Then he is finally convicted of the 3 murders of the previous girls. Okay. He is convicted of that. But Jennifer Carty, our first one we were talking about, they can't line everything up just quite yet. So that one still hasn't been like linked together and solved. It's not until 2009 that he is finally charged with Jennifer's murder. So they obviously find him guilty. Thank you, God, right? Get this crazy psycho off the streets. So they add an additional 25 years onto his sentence. So originally when he was charged, he was given 10 life sentences. And then, like I said, in 2009, he finally was charged with Jennifer's murder, and they added another 10 years onto it. It was, I want to say 2016. I did bad. I didn't write it down. But he actually died in prison of a heart attack. Tear. No, not at all. I wish someone would have beat your butt. That's the way you should have died. You shouldn't have died of a sweet little heart attack. Not that heart attacks are sweet, but you deserved a much, much more painful, horrific, and traumatic death for what you did to these children. Anywho, thank you guys so much for checking in with Auntie Kookoo. Do you like how I can just switch from like being pissed to what's up? Thank you. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you as always. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Storytime with Auntie Kookoo, Kookoo. Let's do it. Thank you guys so much. Let's not forget that we are still riding off a wonderful Super Bowl Sunday. Tampa Bay in the house. Be safe, do good things, be kind, love one another, wear your mask, wash your hands, do good things. Thank you so much. Peace, love, chicken wings.